St. Louis police and the St. Louis Rams now feuding over an apology. The Rams say that there was no apology. The police chief saying that a Rams official had apologized for this gesture that was done by 5 Rams players the other night before Sunday's game. The Rams COO says he expressed regret that the officers were offended, but that he didn't apologize for his players. Meanwhile, 3 lawmakers on Capitol Hill pulling the same thing on the floor of the House. All of this despite no credible grand jury evidence that Michael Brown had that moment, hands up, surrendering moment when Officer Darren Wilson shot him. David Webb is radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. Richard Fowler is a radio show host as well. Gentlemen, good to have you here. You know, this is what is disturbing about these images, because people need honesty in order to get to the truth, in order to mend the broken relationships that exist because of all of this. And can we do that, Richard, if we are perpetuating a moment that, according to the grand jury and the reams of testimony that they heard, did not happen?
Well, listen, I think both the Rams players as well as these members of Congress have the right to express their First Amendment right to freedom of expression, whether we like it or not. I mean, I don't like when people protest the actions the president's taken that I liked, but that's what America's about, the Constitution and having that freedom of expression. And the Rams
but Richard, what I'm asking you is does it help, does it serve anyone to perpetuate that motion? If it didn't happen, who is helped by that? Who is supported by that?
Well, but I think this is a community that is definitely, devastated that the grand jury did not come down with an indictment. And if you look, and I've read through almost 2,000 pages of this, and 16 out of the 29 witnesses indicate that Mike Brown indeed had his hands up. Even Darren Wilson, his own testimony indicated that Mike Brown had his hands up, quote unquote, charging towards him. So I think there's a little bit of, there's nuance here when it comes to whether or not he had his hands up. But the hands up sign
many of those witnesses who testified that later recanted it and changed their story and said that they weren't sure if they remembered it that way.
But that was in the grand jury, the actual evidence dump. They indicated that they had their hands up.
All I know, I
mean, I've read most of this.
So have I, and all I know is that a number of them recanted it, and they found not even any reason to indict, much less go to to push this forward to a trial. And I want to stick with this point, David. When you look at this situation and you look at these images that are all over the media, these football players and then these members of Congress, are they helping to heal the wounds of what happened in Ferguson with that motion, with that action?
No, they're not, Martha. The hands up, don't shoot, we now know, was predicated on a lie that was put forth by Dorian Johnson, who was Michael Brown's accomplice in the robbery before the incident with Officer Wilson. But let's talk about fall outrage. I don't really care about the Rams players. They're citizens. If they want to make an ill-informed statement, that's fine. If the Congress, however, the Congressional Black Caucus, who didn't read the health care bill and voted on it, are devoting time to this in a very short lame duck session, that just shows you that they're playing to the black base. But let's talk about hypocrisy. Where is the fall outrage and the protests and the looting after Zamir Begic, a 32-year-old Bosnian man, is beaten to death with hammers by 3 black teens and 1 Hispanic teen 20 miles south of Ferguson? We're supposed to accept, according to the police, that is not racially motivated. Let me finish, Richard. That we are supposed to accept that is not racially motivated, while at the same time, as a society, we should accept that Mike Brown and Officer Wilson is instantly a racial situation. Where's the logic in that? This is false logic. This is a narrative that matters because the race
David,
let me finish.
You're creating false equivalence here.
No, I'm not, Richard.
Yes, you are. It's a complete and total false equivalent. At the end of the day, whether or not Mike Brown went to the convenience store to steal some cigarettes or not,
wait
1 second.
So please let Richard finish his thought. Go ahead, Richard.
It doesn't equate to a death sentence. And beyond that fact, I mean, my mother, Martha, you're a mother, to see your child lay in the street for 4.5 hours here, there clearly is, this is not level. And I think that's what the protesters are out there are saying, that this whole situation was not level.
Why aren't they protesting for
Well,
him?
you could go out and protest for Zamir if you'd like, David Webb.
But you don't give a crap.
I'll
and that's
join
the
you.
reality,
I'll
Richard.
join you.
You
I will
back
join
this
you with the
stuff up.
protest.
No, you
but at
don't,
the end
Richard.
of the
You
day,
don't play-
at
play
the end
this
of the
game.
day,
Gentlemen.
these young people all across the country have come together. They said they want justice. It's not just about Mike Brown. It's
Justice
about
is due
Eric
process.
Garner. It's about
It's
Tamar
basic.
Rice. It's about all those individuals.
Guys, nobody is hearing. Okay, listen. You know, that is the point. That's what I'm saying. When you do this hands-up gesture, if you want to heal what is going on out there, you have to be honest with the circumstances of what happened. And you have to look at, and you do have to look at this man, Zamir, this poor Bosnian man who was killed by 3 individuals on the street that don't get the same kind of attention. And we have to be honest with ourselves. And I think that that's what we're missing here when we see this gesture and we just expect that it stands for everything that's going on in this situation. And it doesn't. There's so much that needs to be fixed.
Here's the thing, Martha. I think, listen, we have a broken justice system, whether we like it or not. It's broken. It's failed us once. It's failed a lot of individuals once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Eric Garner, Tamar Rice. We could go on and on and talk about those. At the end of the day, the Hands Up, Don't Shoot Signia stands for fighting for justice and making sure that the justice system works for everybody. And it is part of the Constitution, David. You wear the Constitution. You walk around it, but you trample on its values if you don't allow these folks to have that ideal of putting their hands up, don't shoot. It's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. It's what makes America a great country.
We're up against a hard break here.
This is
David
the
Webb,
fundamental
Richard
dishonesty
Fowler.
that Richard
Thank you,
pushes.
Martha.
Thank you both. Obviously, to be continued.
Happening now.